edition.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. A Metro officer at the center of his third shooting was found justified in the latest coroner's inquest. An 8-person jury said Officer Bryan Yant was within his rights to kill 21-year-old Tre'von Cole while executing a search warrant back in June. We have team coverage tonight. 8 News Now reporters Ahid Arab talked to the sheriff about new policies. But first we begin tonight with Jonathan McCall, who has been listening to every single minute of testimony and this entire case.
Yeah, some pretty sad news. Is obviously not the verdict that Tre'von Cole's family was looking for. It took the 5-woman, 3-man jury a little more than an hour, just after 7:30 tonight, to find Yant justified in shooting Cole. Cole family attorney Andre Larger-Messino says today's ruling did not provide justice for Cole's family and showed some serious flaws in the coroner's inquest process.
I just feel extremely disappointed. I feel disappointed for the family. But I'll tell you what, this verdict doesn't even compare to the loss of Tre'von Cole. He was 21 years old. It's a human tragedy that's unfolding before our eyes in the community. Everybody in the city knows it, and we'll just have to move forward from here.
Cole was shot and killed during a drug raid by Metro officers executing a search warrant at his apartment back on June 11th. Today, on the stand for nearly 4 hours, Bryan Yant admitted several key mistakes were made when it came to getting the information used in that search warrant, including information used from another man in Houston, Texas with the same name. It's something Yant says he did not know until after the shooting, but something that did make officers executing that warrant more heightened as they entered the apartment. On 3 occasions, Cole did sell marijuana to undercover officers in small amounts. Also,
I failed to compare the fingerprint codes from California and Texas to eliminate the Tre'von Cole from Houston, Texas, from the Tre'von Cole from California that had sold us narcotics. It was a mistake on my part not doing so, and that mistake was entered into the search warrant. However, it did not affect the fact that Tre'von Cole had sold us narcotics.
Another key piece of testimony today, whether or not Yant could even see Cole or anything for that matter. During the raid, he says the flashlight on his service weapon gave out shortly before entering that apartment. Yant testified even without sufficient light, he was still able to see Cole with an object in his hands. He says on several occasions he gave Cole verbal commands to drop what was in his hands. He says when Cole made a motion with his hands toward him, he had no other choice but to shoot him in the head. Yant says the shooting was no accident, and tonight Sheriff Doug Gillespie says admitted some of those mistakes from that search warrant and from this raid to 8 News Now.
He was bringing his hands together like this, pointed at me, and I told him, drop what's in your hands, get on the ground. At the same time, he's continuing this. And in those couple seconds, because his hands are here, I have my rifle pointed at the subject, at Tre'von Cole. I'm telling him, issuing him commands. He's not obeying these commands, and then I fire 1 round to his head.
Based on that briefing, I had concerns in regards to, number one, the preparation of that search warrant, which came out today in regards to some of the information that was contained in it, how the search warrant was executed, particularly the fact that an officer in the line to enter the apartment should not have been in that line, and you know, aspects of that case, the flashlight not working once entry was made, and other things that concerned me.
Distraught from today's ruling, members of Cole's family, including his fiancee, who was also inside of that apartment at the time of the raid, did not talk to the media. Cole attorney Larger-Messino says the case is still far from over. He plans to file a civil rights lawsuit and possibly even racketeering charges against Metro and even against Officer Yant. So still a long way to go before this is finally decided.
Far from over. All right, thanks a lot for that, Jonathan. Meantime, as you saw there, Sheriff Doug Gillespie's response to tonight's verdict was swift, calling the 2-day inquest process fair and transparent. While he says it's premature to act on specifics, he says changes to procedures are in effect to prevent Metro's admitted mistakes from happening once again. 8 News Now reporters Ahid Arab joins us with that part of the stories. Ahid?
Well, Jonathan, Sheriff Gillespie says it's too soon to say exactly what went wrong or whether the officers involved will face consequences. But just 2 days after the shooting, he was concerned enough to look into some changes.
In times of controversy, Sheriff Doug Gillespie says he must be critical.
I have to ask those tough questions And when changes need to be made, I'll make sure that those changes are made.
The sheriff says he was briefed 2 days after the shooting. He claims how the search warrant was prepared, the information contained in it, and how it was executed concerned him.
An officer in the line to enter the apartment should not have been in that line.
The sheriff admits ranking officers did not dot their I's and cross their T's on the warrant, resulting in mistakes. Now, warrants requiring Metro to gain forced entry into a place will be served by SWAT. Gillespie says sergeants are responsible for the accuracy of search warrants. But we learned that Captain Brett Zimmerman of Vice Narcotics will be reassigned. Taking his place is Captain Vincent Canito, formerly of Crimes Against Youth and Family.
A good, fresh set of eyes within the Vice Narcotics section will be a good thing.
He says the personnel change is not based on the shooting. We asked if Captain Canito is fit for the job.
He definitely has the qualifications to move into that position. Wouldn't do it if he didn't.
Any other specific action will be deferred pending investigations by a use of force board and critical incident review team.
The sheriff says transferring officers directly involved in the shooting would be premature prior to internal investigations. Now, Gillespie credits what he calls the success of this inquest to the community. 4 years ago, a panel of citizens were brought together to make changes which included the addition of a judge and allowing questions to be asked in this process.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Zahid.